Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Living World of Darkness, Puppy Class, for puppies, by puppies. We will start this scene in the penumbral reflection of the area, probably near to the Cub Cabins. There's no need to really wander off. But Maeve has been offering and almost insisting on having a chance to teach her fellow Cubs about just about anything that she knows that they might not. So, with enough poking and enough questions, she has dragged out those who have been asking and dragged them off, told them to pop into the Umbra so that she can actually teach them in a place where they can see what she's talking about, and sidestepped across, assuming lupus form immediately.
And her little boundful of puppy students will definitely one of them will have followed her, and she will be have lots and lots of puppy friends, all
The
in the
first
beautiful wolfish form.
Lucas will be the first one to go ahead and make a motion onto the puppy class to go ahead and move the procession over to the penumbral reflections of Reservoir Lake so they can play and swim.
Actually, that's not a bad idea at all. Maeve will brighten up and nod enthusiastically and glance around to see if anyone else is coming before they head out.
After a few minutes, Chino will cross over and slowly slide into Lupus. He's still skeptical. He's not uncomfortable in the Umbra, but it's obviously not his favorite place in the world yet. So his Actinic heritage hasn't quite caught up with him completely yet. But you can tell it's still there, and he's willing to learn and hopefully spend more time in the Umbra and get a little bit more comfortable, but just seems a little bit, you can tell his hackles are up a little bit. He's just not completely comfortable there yet.
If you look at Talia, she's probably also not looking the most comfortable. She's trying to cover it, she's trying to look like she knows what she's doing and she's happy with it, but she hasn't had the best experiences in the Umbra so far. But they're getting there, but she's convinced she can do it. But she's also trying to not let the other Cubs know she's still uncomfortable with it. But you can probably see, like, her wolfish behavior. She hasn't quite got a handle on all of that yet.
Trot, 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 trot. Hello, tree spirit. Trot, 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 trot. Hello, bush spirit. And the rabbit spirit underneath. How you doing? Trot, 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 trot. Oh, doves. Wonderful, wonderful little friends. Trot, trot, trot. Lucas has noticed the discomfort and tries just to be, his brag about shelf. I was like,
Did we already do a little thingy saying, detailing how lively the Umbra is?
No. Go ahead.
Oh. Well then, yeah, kind of as exemplified by Lucas's trot talking to everything. A good point to make is that when you're in the Umbra, even if you're not sure how to interact with spirits, it's very clear, very abruptly, if you're looking, that they're literally everywhere and they're literally in everything. The faces might have, or the trees might have gnarled faces on them, either asleep or looking outward. All the animals are somehow more vibrant and more visible and more lively than they were before. All the plants, even the ground, even the wind, even the clouds way up there. Everything is very vibrantly alive. Speaking of dove spirits, more likely than not, Maeve is going to end up having at least one clinging to her back as she trots along.
Chino kind of settles down onto his haunches and just puts one paw over the other like he usually does when he's in Lupus and sitting there, and he's just sitting there waiting for the class. Kind of watching Maeve.
Lucas is going to go ahead and go right to the edge of the reservoir lake, find a nice rock to go ahead and sit his pretty ass down.
So once they have gotten there, over probably fairly near to where the lake is lapping at the shore, very, very minutely, She'll probably trot fairly near to the water and glance over at the others as they settle in.
Chino will rise up and kind of shake his shoulders in definitely a gesture of "you made me move," and then we'll wander over to join the other ones and then settle back down again.
Talia's gonna huff at Chino and sort of move around the area a little bit. She looks like she probably has more energy to burn still, but will eventually plop herself down.
All right. So, Maeve will probably plop down as well. She'll do so kind of slowly so that if the dove wishes, it can migrate up to plop on her head or fly off or just kind of cling to her shoulders while she's sitting. Whatever makes it happy, really. She'll leave it to its business and settle down, kind of glowing, reflecting slightly over the surface of the lake, and glance over the other three. So, how much do each of you already know about spirits? Can do.
Chino looks at the other two, then looks back to Mabe, kind of shrugs his shoulders a little bit. I know how to yell at them.
Not my favorite tactic, but okay.
They don't understand me. I don't understand them, but I know how to yell at them.
I know that I know that you speak to them. I know that Travis has said it's not something I should ignore, and whilst it'll be more your area of expertise, that is your talent, but it's something that I should know more about, so.
She'll nod a couple times. And kind of glance at Lucas to see if he wants to add anything. She has a pretty good idea of at least where he's let her see that his knowledge is, but maybe he'll surprise her?
Surprises, not to be had this day. At least he's not showing his cards yet. Big stupid smile on his face, though.
Par for the course, then. So I have learned that I can't teach you to talk to them yet. Not until we've passed our rite of passage. But once we have, I can teach you how to understand them. And I will happily do so. And Talia, you are right, even if it is a theurge's duty to tend to the spirits, we do have to keep in mind that in a way we are also part spirit ourselves, and having a good relationship with the spirits around us. And it's just generally a good idea, really. Better to have allies than to have someone who wants to mess with you or trick you or just play with you or perhaps even become angry with you. She'll kind of glance over at Chino. Some of them I'm sure can be bullied, but not all of them. And I wouldn't want to anger one for the risk of not being able to speak to any of them. The doves, for example, I have offered them gnosis here and there as I am able. In fact, now, once a week, I go to Unicorn Shrine and I offer them a bit of my gnosis. And as a result, many of them are fond of me because they all know my name.
So that's why they hang around you all the time.
I have been as kind as I can to them, and they have been very kind to me in turn. Do you all know how to manifest your gnosis?
Chino kind of cocks his head to the side. That thing when you throw up the light?
Yeah, it's that thing when I throw up the light.
Mm.
It looks a lot more graceful in Hamid. And honestly, it happens however you imagine it happening. Normally I just kind of glow at people, but the little green ball works better when I'm teaching someone who is new.
You see him start to kind of...
Oh, you don't have to do it like that.
And some Lucky Charms and beer goes...
That is not gnosis. That's just gross.
Lucas goes ahead and manifests a rainbow. Like in the sky, there's just this one tiny streak of rainbow. Well, maybe not in the sky, but at least 10 feet up.
Yeah. And maybe we'll just kind of this time exhale her breath, because clearly the whole horking it up thing is catching a little too well. So she'll exhale a breath in something like a little bit of a a glowing green mist and just kind of coalesce a little ball of gnosis in front of her nose. You don't have to puke to make gnosis. You just have to tap into what's inside you and pull it forward.
Glad to know it doesn't have to be totally gross. I think you got me to try and do this once before. It wasn't massively successful, but I'll give it a go. Let's do this.
Yep, just try. You're not expending it, you're just learning how to pull it out and present it because... And she looks at Chino after saying that, realizing that the phrasing was poor. And she's like snapping him to look like, don't do it.
Chino looks... He has a decidedly wolfy kind of smug look on his face. He looks at Maeve and he looks at the pile of puke, and you can slowly see the Lucky Charms start to coalesce into some gnosis. And he looks back at Maeve with this decidedly smug look on his face, continuing.
She just shakes her head a little bit like, ew. Oh, God.
Rainbows!
Oh, goodness. So Maeve will just go ahead and re-inhale the point of gnosis because there's no need to expend it just yet. And she'll kind of give Talia an encouraging look. To be honest, it's kind of like tapping into Luna's rage. Some people have more, some people have less. It may be harder. I don't know how much you've been touched by the mother.
You look over at Chino and you see him. He's got his tongue halfway out, like he's about to eat the Lucky Charms and beer.
Chino,
Huh?
don't do it. Don't fucking do it.
Talia is curling her lips slightly in disgust and like scrunching up her nose, like, or the muzzle around her nose a little bit.
Luke's actually going to sniff towards the Lone Star soaked and probably bile soaked Lucky Charms and just crinkle his nose. Meh. Those gone bad.
Don't do it.
Chino kind of starts to stick his
You're a
tongue
gross
out.
boy. We get it. You're gross and you're a boy. You're a gross boy. You win. Don't eat it.
You haven't won yet, Chino. They're not running.
No. I just told him he won, and I'm not running because I'm the one giving the class.
He kind of slides his tongue back in his mouth and kind of sniffs really hard, and it kind of coalesces into that green vapor like Maeve used and goes into his nose.
Nice. That'll work.
So, being able to manifest your gnosis, it means that in a pinch, you can usually make a deal with spirits. The gnosis is good for them. It makes them stronger. It makes them bigger. It's what they want from us most of the time. They'll give us other quests. They'll give us other missions. In order to make the talons for healing, the doves have asked me to, in exchange, instead of constantly offering them gnosis, I am able to make these talons as long as I seek another option before I turn to violence. So deals are a thing, but if you've heard any fairy tale in your life and about being tricked into deals, keep those in mind. Phrasing is important. Don't promise something you can't give because the consequences are almost always really, really bad.
Chino definitely raises his hackles a little bit at the mention of making deals with spirits, as his latest ban is still not over. Kind of shuffles his shoulders a little bit in a wolfy gesture of disgust at what he was forced to do. And then basically kind of blinks a little bit and then brings his attention back to Maeve as if, all right, I'll listen to you again now.
Yeah, she'll keep an eye on him for a second, make sure he's not getting too riled. And to be honest, it is probably best to have a theurge present if you're going to make a deal at all, but in a pinch, at least you know the basics. Oh god, what are you rolling?
Yeah, he's good.
Okay. There are, though, other nifty tricks you can do with your Gnosis, especially here in the Umbra. And she'll turn around and take a pace or two towards the edge of the water, and let's see if she can pull it off this time. She does! And she will very, very carefully, very slowly, step out and walk on top of the water rather than into it. And she'll kind of stay there. It's not very deep. It's maybe like an inch or two of water. It's really not anything remarkable. It's just, it makes the point. And she'll kind of glance back. With our Gnosis, we are able to shape the Umbra, at least in small ways. I imagine if you have enough, in very large ways. But being able to form what you need or change the aspects of it, like this, and she'll kind of pat her paw on the, very carefully on the surface of the water. Oh, very well. It's very beneficial to understand how to do it. In practicing our traps, which Lucas and I have been doing to prepare for Wolfholm, we come here, I get practice shaping the Umbra to make the traps, and then we practice setting off and then escaping the traps. It's a little complicated because I have to both form them and impress upon them how they work and what they're supposed to do, but it's good practice. And she'll hop off of the water. It's kind of obvious if you're paying attention that she's not wholly confident in her ability to maintain the shift in the Umbra, the whole manipulation she's done. So she'll go ahead and hop off.
I gotta tell you, teeth of steel hurt bad.
Mm-hmm. I don't have them snap as hard as they would for real, but yeah, it's rough. We'd probably heal it just fine, but I'd rather not be crippled even for a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you notice that at the mention of Wolfholm, Chino gives Talia a rather knowing look for a moment. And then we too have been talking about the Wolfholm.
She'll perk up.
We interested to know what we're gonna find there. You know, with our moon, we're gonna be the ones having to fight. So we need to know what we're gonna have to fight so that we know how to train.
All right. Well, I can tell you as much as Katori told me about it, and as much as Olaf has told me. And she'll come on over and sit back down with them again. Wolfholm is a place in the deep Umbra where you do not possess your higher thought. I had thought that it would be a good place to get in touch with the wolf until I learned more about it. This is why Lucas and I are practicing escaping traps now, because if we do it enough that it is rote, that it's almost instinctual or habit or muscle memory to get out of them or help someone else out of them, we should be able to use that knowledge even without having to tap into our human minds. In Wolfholm, well, we will be wolves, and there will be other wolves. There will be territories. I assume we will have to worry about encountering other packs. But more importantly, and probably more dangerously, there are humans there. And the humans in that realm, they hunt the wolves. Specifically the wolves. It's not you run across a hunter by happenstance, it's they will come looking for us. And they will come looking to either kill us or to trap us or to drug us and take us away and put us in zoos or harm us grievously.
I hear the only way to leave is to be one with your wolf.
And she nods slightly. I guess. I don't know. When I talked to Katori about it, he had said that it is very easy to get stuck there because you can't consciously make the effort to leave because you don't have that part of your mind. So, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And in the case of, well, she kind of glances around the little circle there, I don't think we'll have a problem. honestly. Of the four of us here, I'm probably, well, Lucas and I are probably the most likely. No, actually, Lucas is very good at letting go when he has to. And I imagine that when it's really important, I will be able to let go of my human mind too. I'm more worried about Cinna if she comes.
Why you worried about the sinner? I don't know her very well, so you have to tell me about her.
Cinna was kin for a very long time, and she has a very distinct personality, and she
Shakes
has...
head.
What?
She was brought up unknowing and just came into her heritage only less than a year, I think.
Well, then my bad. I've only been here a couple months, so... I mean, I knew she'd been here before me.
I think also for Senna, she fights things simply because they are there to be fought. Or
Not...
that is my impression. I also don't know her so well. But... And she has not been, like a couple of us, not been Fiagaru. She accepts it, but it still doesn't sit comfortably, I would say.
She doesn't embrace the wolf aspects of it. She doesn't like having to show her throat. She doesn't like... I've never seen her shift for fun. I've never seen her shift without being told to or asked to. I worry that she doesn't embrace it already. And so she will have a harder time embracing it there.
I don't pretend to understand what she's going through, but I think that she is having her difficulties. That is true. But I think there is a strength of character to Senna that may see her through.
I hope so.
I think she is determined to survive. The one who I worry about is Albert.
Well,
And Maeve's hackles raised slightly, but she'll shrug.
with the Albert, I think this trip it definitely tell us if Albert gonna make it or Albert not gonna make it.
Indeed.
If Albert can go ahead and buckle down and take directions from his superiors, he's not going to just go ahead and do the lone wolf thing in Wolf Home. I don't think he's that silly.
But does he have the strength of character to stand by others and stand with his fellow cubs and not turn their back on them?
Maeve's hackles raised slightly further. Albert can't even accept that the things he does affects the people around him. I don't expect him to have any ability to sync up with a pack.
Talia will look slightly startled at Maeve. She knows she has sort of recognised she's not been happy, admittedly recently, but the depth of her feeling for sort of nastiness has somewhat caught her by surprise.
Does she actually, does it show? Does she look a little bit shocked?
Yeah, she'll look at you a little bit shocked, but maybe slightly more respectful.
And she'll look briefly a little sheepish, but her hackles aren't going to drop at all. Look, I try to be nice. I do. I want this life not to be as hard as it could be. But Albert has hurt people. He's hurt Olaf. He's hurt us because we have to go and do this. And he doesn't care or doesn't understand that what he does is hurting the people who are tied to him. So I wouldn't want him in a pack anyways. Not if he can't understand that we're one unit. So what one part of the unit does affects the other parts.
I think he made a mistake. I agree what he did was terrible and horrific. I'm more interested in what he does in response. If you say he's not knuckling down, if you say he's not accepting responsibility, and you say he's not moving forward, then that is a problem. If he does do those things and can prove that he can, yes, he fucked up. Sorry, yes, he screwed up, that's fine. But if he can move forward and prove his strength, prove that he can do things, prove that he's willing to work for his pack and for his brothers and sisters, then maybe he will survive Wolfholm and maybe he will form a pack with someone. But, as you say, it remains to be seen.
Maeve offers a small nod. It's kind of a tentative thing, but, I mean, for the sake of example, Lucas made a mistake recently. It happens. People make mistakes. Nicholas made a mistake. And he had been warned
Call it
better,
that.
but I also think that Gaia bless me, he's a little simple, and he probably didn't understand the depth of what he was getting into. So, he also shows remorse for what he did.
Literally had to shove the crutches into his hands for him to accept it.
Albert does not show any sort of remorse, so I have zero interest in forgiving his actions.
I understand. Well, I sort of see where you're coming from, Maeve. Lucas's response, as you say, was entirely the right response. He apologized, tried to offer reparations, and then moved forward. This is entirely the right response. He did not. He tried to minimize his consequences, apologized for his consequences, and then moved on to more positive things. The negative consequences extend beyond that and weaken everyone else afterwards. Albert's problem is that he won't accept responsibility, and therefore he causes weakness in everyone else because he will not change his ideas. Nicholas is another problem. He is so wrapped up in his own ideals and his own importance and his own specialness that he is but he won't see beyond himself. You call it simple, and that is fine. He can be simple, but I am just wary. I understand he means well. I understand he is trying, but if he's going to just mope and make everything about himself, then that is equally not part of a pack.
She'll nod, and actually nod a firm agreement, and by now her hackles have started slicking back down. The subject is obviously a tender one, but she's not getting more angry or working her way up to a rant or anything.
As far as Nicholas, I can see that he not desperately, he's very, very eager to become a warrior of legend for Gaia. And that's all well and good. I mean, I've seen his big sword, and I can believe that he's been able to use that thing. But is it possible to curb his enthusiasm not just to be a warrior, but a servant for Gaia? Make him understand that he doesn't just have to be a warrior. He can be a very, very, very awesome warrior. But if we can turn him into a servant for Gaia, then he'll find other ways to express himself and not go for the biggest and the baddest person, go ahead and try to train him. He'll try to work his way up. Shake him from his legend complex.
If you can see a way to that path, please help lead him on it, Lucas. I think he does need some guidance.
Chino kind of sits up to where he's on his rear end, front paws out in front of him, neck goes straight in an extremely serious looking pose. I told you now, he slow us down, you're gonna get left.
I don't think Nicholas will have to go, I hope.
I'm not talking about Nicholas alone.
Oh. Yes.
Suffer not thy sickness.
Indeed.
To make it, I hamstring him myself and leave his ass. We will not lose a pack because of one.
I agree.
It takes a moment to roll around Maeve's head, just because saying it out loud makes it a little real, but she does nod.
No, that's
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
If you're talking about being servants of Gaia, it is better to serve Gaia by bringing as many of us back as possible, but if not all of us can get back, that may be something we have to accept.
Chino nods, and I expect nothing else from each of you. Something happened, Chino slow you down. Chino get left. It's simple.
Well, here's the part that might be a problem. Sorry, go ahead, Lucas.
Lucas goes ahead and pipes up. Let's hope for the best, but expect the worst. If the pack succeeds, we may not have to leave anybody behind. If the pack succeeds, it's going to be only after extreme adversity. It's Wolf home. Some people call it wolf hell.
Agreed. It is not. We plan, and she nods. We use all of our strengths. Be that planning, be that our claws, be that our spirit, and we use all our strengths, and we try to take everybody back. But as Chino says, it may be one of the others, it may be one of us, but we have to accept that maybe one of us may not come back. But that is not what we want. We will do everything and expect everyone to do everything to bring everybody back. But if somebody doesn't do everything they can, if someone is willing to give up, if someone doesn't have the strength of character, the strength of muscle, the strength of thought to bring themselves back and to contribute to the effort of bringing everyone else back, then she kind of gives a wolfy shrug and just leaves it at that and stares at the others.
If an Omega or a scapegoat does present itself in Wolfhelm, it will be pushed to the outskirts of the pack and left to fend for itself and starve. Because there's only so much game there, and it can only feed so many wolves. Make sense?
Whatever bow you want to tie it with.
My worry is mostly we have accepted that this may be the way it is. I don't know if Olaf will accept that and leave any one of us. He has accepted us as family, and I'm worried that he will be too tied to it. So what we're all probably thinking will happen, and Albert presents himself as a weight around our necks, I don't know if Olaf will leave him willingly.
I don't think Olaf or anyone should leave anyone willingly, but I also think that Olaf is a Get Fenris, and from what I understand, he will fight tooth and claw, as we all should, to try and save our brothers and sisters, and as he sees us, his cubs. But there is a point that even he will accept, I believe. He is not foolish, he is not suicidal, he will not risk his life and risk the life of all of his other cubs just for one if they refuse to contribute, if they refuse to step forward and do what they need to do. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe I am wrong. He has been a nice man, but he also seems practical to me. I'm not saying he won't regret it. I'm not saying it won't eat at him, it won't eat at every part of him, but...
Chino continues his rigid stance, as it were, and kind of looks at the three of them. As you say, we lose, we go straight to the wolf there. So, the pack, when one fall behind, they fall behind. He may feel bad once we get back, but his wolf, not let him go back.
She'll nod.
Now, Albert, all of you, Chino's brother, Chino's sister, because we all together, just like family, we have brother and sister that we maybe not favorite, but they still brother or sister. Nobody fuck with my brother or sister but me. So, Talia, Chino, Nicholas, we the full moons. We protect all of you equally. Because that's what we do.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, because that's what we do. And when we go to Wolfholm, it's going to naturally be that way. So, even Albert, if he start to make himself an outsider to the pack, higher thought not going to save him.
He's Ragabash. He belongs outside at least a little bit, on the periphery, on the perimeter, to see what needs to be seen and sneak around and come back with information. That's what a ragabash does. The
I don't-
ragabash goes out. The ragabash finds and tracks. The ragabash comes back.
I understand that, but I don't think he's ready for that.
He's not.
But we're gonna find out quick, fast, and in a hurry.
I can hear him from a mile away.
They're gonna say, "Trial by fire."
Indeed. We also need to know that you guys have our back, and we need to trust all of you at our backs. That whilst we are fighting and defending for you, that you are, all of you, and everyone is going to do what they need to do. Because ultimately, you say you're a Ragabash, you do what you need to do, you sneak, you go around the outside, you make the plans, you ask the questions. Maeve is a Theurge, she asks, you speak to the spirits, you connect us to our spiritual side, but ultimately, remember, we are all wolves. We might be slightly better at the fighting than you, but we are all wolves. We all have teeth.
Maeve may have deflated just a tiny bit during conversation, and will kind of paw at her muzzle a bit. I hope that I don't drag you down while I'm there. Because if I can't think, if I can't do the things that we can do as Guru, I won't be able to speak to the spirits. And I won't have
You
that.
won't. But that's why you need to recognize that that is not your only strength. You are a wolf. You have the teeth. You have the claws. Trust in them. Trust in yourself and trust in your wolf, and you will have that strength.
She'll not.
Mm-hmm.
Glance over to Chino to see if he's looking skeptical or approving or what have you.
Chino is actually literally just staring at Maeve.
She'll kind of just blink, but she's not going to hold a stare.
Maeve, you say you can't do anything else, but Olaf pointed out to me himself that you have stepped up when you've had to, that you have attacked things. I don't think, as you say, it'll be instinct. As much as you want to, that human bit of you won't be there.
Oh, I'm not worried about hesitating. I just know that that is not my strongest aspect. I can fight. I can run. I can track. I just hope that it is enough.
It'll be enough because you'll have your brothers and sisters to go ahead and patch up the blocks and the holes that you don't have.
Give a firm little nod.
Now, I'm sorry that we went ahead and had this little sidetrack, and we can continue this little sidetrack, but I wanted to go play in the goddamn lake and talk about, spirit stuff. We can continue our plans and preparations of Wolfholm if you would like, but I will have this conversation in the water, if you'll excuse me. And very, very comically, Lucas is going to go ahead and just simply jump off the rock that he's been sitting on and into the penumbral reflection of the lake.
Chino keeps his regal posture for a moment, just kind of sitting there. His hackles are still a little up. If he were in Hamid, you could almost see him standing there with his arms crossed across his chest.
Talia is going to turn and grin at Chino, purposely showing a little bit of teeth, and dive after Lucas.
Chino kind of settles down to lay down, much like his picture is now again, waiting for the class to continue.
And Maeve will kind of smirk and, well, as much as a wolf can smirk.
Tail
It's
raised
not,
high. That's how you
Yeah.
express happiness.
It's tail raised high, ears up, whiskers twitching a bit, and she'll turn towards the water and kind of shoot Chino a glance. It's kind of you can tell it's the watch this kind of gag, and she'll lean down and kind of murmur to the little bits of water that are lapping at the shore, seeing if she can coax up one of the smaller water spirits there. And upon doing so, she'll kind of glance over at the two splashing around.
Okay, and as you do look away from Chino, he will lunge and nudge you into the water.
Oh, she should know better. Katori did the same thing.
And as you
She'll-
turn
she'll,
back,
like-
his tongue will be out, his tail will be up, and he'll then just for a minute, he'll just sit back down as if nothing happened.
She'll kind of stumble and splash her way into the water. She won't go over just yet, but well, actually, let's see if she goes over or not, just for lulz.
Death athletics. Need at least 2.
Yeah.
See if you can control how you splash around.
I do.
There you go.
So she manages to keep her feet, but she probably gets sloshed pretty good. And she'll kind of shoot him a shocked expression briefly, and then when he goes and plays innocent, she's gonna lean down, mutter a bit more to the spirit, and essentially open her maw to breathe out that green mist again, offering it a point of her gnosis.
We're gonna have a spirit
And
gun war.
then,
You know who was
oh yeah,
not? It wasn't yesterday. Will stand up and kind of start easing back from the edge of the water, watching the spirit.
what follows will probably be the equivalent of getting hit with like a water gun.
Yeah.
Like, this spirit is now her super soaker. He doesn't have to come in the water. The water's coming to him.
Okay, so that's this. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what's the plus to Dex and Lupus?
Plus
Oh.
2, I believe.
Yeah, we'll
I
go.
totally didn't even abuse that because I'm stupid.
Oh no, he took it. No wait, he might have gotten away.
Shall I roll the attack for the spirit?
He has 1 success. We'll say it gets him.
Just
He had 2 runs in there, so we'll say it gets him. And you see it. He's it gets him in the side as he tries to dodge.
Maeve is going to look very pleased with herself standing there in the shallows.
He'll open his mouth. His tail will go high again. You can tell he thinks it's amusing. His tongue will kind of lull out a little bit. He'll look at the water that's on the ground and he'll lap at it, like thanks for the drink type thing.
And Maeve's going to do the little dancey prance type of patter in the water, and then again speak to the spirit and jerk her nose towards the other two.
Oh, well,
Super
this has
Soaker
been-
Wars.
Talia will have. Is Lucas in water relatively deep?
Yeah, if you were in helmet, it'd be about a waist deep.
Talia will literally pounce on him and be trying to dunk his head under the water.
Oh, he'll go into the water. He'll disappear under the water.
Days in the shallows.
Dun-dun, 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 cheen, 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 dun-dun, 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 cheen, cheen, cheen. I'm a wolf shark.
Oh my.
Just let's see if we can.
It's a game of pounce, counterbounce, bounce, counterpounce.
Someone goes for the tail, someone else goes for an ear. There's lots of water and splashing and spluttering going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's see.
Some of it looks
Even-
graceful, some of it just looks daft.
All right, evens and odds. Evens is Talia. Odds are Lucas. Oop, I fucking cleared it because I'm a genius. So Lucas, 3 successes using Gnosis to shape the Umbra. She's going to try to kind of geyser you briefly out of the water.
Oh yeah, that'll be awesome. You know that little
He catches a little
picture-
airtime.
You know that little picture of that wolf that's sort of trying to mimic a shark? Talia, you get that briefest of glimpses before a giant geyser just goes ahead, spurts dear Lucas out of the water. You see him go ahead and flip out and flip, rotate, does a barrel roll in the middle of the fucking air. You're like, "Ah!" Splash.
And as Maeve's attention again leaves Chino because she never learns, She turns her head away from him and suddenly finds herself hurtling through the air in the arms of a very large wolf as she's bum rushed into the deeper part of the water. And they splash into the deep part together. Whoosh! Unless you would like to dodge 4 successes for the bum rush.
I'll try just
I'm
for the
surprised. Dun-dun-dun.
Da-da-da.
1, 2, 3,
Nope.
4.
Oh. So Ty goes to the defender. So
I'll still say he manages to knock her, but that she is going to react very quickly as soon as the contact is made and kind of roll him past her rather than getting completely bowled into the water. kind of shuffle him so that he uses his own momentum to go past rather than into her.
okay. And he'll kind of roll through there and slide into the deep part. But he doesn't come up from it. Let's see.
At which point Talia, because Lucas is up in the air, Talia is going to turn around and go after Chino then.
Gino's underwater. Nobody
No,
gets
that's fine. As he starts to resurface, she will try and shove him back under again.
So,
I have to say that this is an excellent, excellent lesson of spirits.
You got like one little water spirit that's playing Super Soaker, hitting whoever is in whoever presents an easy target.
No, but it is an important lesson on packed interactions.
Yes, it is.
as because
And
I,
being,
go ahead.
yeah, say, and playing and interacting with each other as wolves, and how they would interact. So I feel this is still an important lesson.
Chino actually got lost under the water because I rolled a 1. Instead of coming up under Maeve, he's going to come up under. We'll roll a die here.
Evens and odds.
He's going to come up under Lucas and
Okay.
drag him underwater.
It's like, grrr.
Oh boy! As this large shape erupts under Lucas and yanks him under the water.
Lucas is gonna go ahead and hold his fucking breath.
Let's see.
He's gonna wait for you to go ahead and take you out of the breath. Oh, you think he can't do it?
I'm all good. Stamina roll.
No, no. Okay.
Last the longest underwater.
Okay. Do. It's +2 stamina, right?
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yes, it's +2.
All right. Do. Rolling. Oh no!
Oh!
How many successes did you
No,
get?
don't worry.
I got 5 successes, sir.
I got 4. You're gonna notice that Lucas is gonna start to choke, but he's gonna try to hold it in a little bit longer.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and roll willpower to see how long I can do this. Oh, fuck you! Fuck you!
Oh!
Alright, so at this point, Chino will aim Lucas at Talia, and he'll raise both his back paws and his front paws and eject Lucas towards Talia.
Talia
Oh
is
boy!
going to try and...
Holy shit!
I
You
can't
literally
even
get
fight that.
thrown.
I have
I-
successes with Lucas.
Yes. Don't forget, he is an improvised lupus. So while Lucas is under there, like holding his fucking breath way longer than he really fucking should, forcing it down, just go ahead and say, "Well, this game is over," and just chunk him at Talia. And Talia, you get a coughing and sputtering Lucas lupus at you.
I'm going to try and... As she sees this dark shape coming at her out from under the water, she's going to try and dodge so she doesn't get a face full of a wet Lucas.
You gotta beat
Soggy.
6 successes to keep from getting a face full of wet Lucas.
So am I just effectively rolling to dodge? This is...
X athletics, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, you're taking the Lucas to the face.
I am taking the Lucas to the face.
That's cool. That's cool. Lucas is going to go ahead and after getting hit or being used to hit Talia, goes ahead and rolls on over, and he's going to go ahead and disappear into the water.
Meanwhile, when Chino pops up, he's going to get hit with a, not large, but he's going to get hit with like a small wave to tumble him.
You see, Chino does appear, and he kind of does that crocodile thing where just like the top is above the water, just enough to where you can see his eyes. And he'll take the wave, and then he'll come up and he'll do it again. And you see he's slowly doing that, dun, dun, and he's heading toward Maeve.
Talia is gonna look at thing and try and realize what he's doing and try and start flanking as well, because Maeve definitely needs to be in the deep water.
Maeve is trotting back into the shallows, back into the shallows. Getting out of the water is cheating, but back into the shallows.
Dun, 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 dun. All right.
She'll essentially drop into a play bow when she's back over to like essentially ankle deep water.
All right, I'm rolling a d4.
Seems to be doing his ragabash thing, and so suddenly the pack has turned on Maeve, apparently.
Oh yeah.
I rolled a 1, according to me. You know what? What's funnier, Chino or Maeve for a target?
Maeve.
We're all going
Probably
after
Maeve.
Maeve at this point.
Yeah, we're
All
all
right.
Maeve at this point.
So, donut, 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 donut.
How close can he get
donut,
when she's in the
donut,
shallows?
He get really, really close. He's got blur on. Donut, donut. You can
Cheater!
roll your perception and alertness at a +1 difficulty, but since you're in lupus, it's -2, so that you're difficulty of 5. Get
Yeah.
6
Okay.
successes.
And it's pretty evident that your attention is probably on Chino and Talia, who are stalking.
That's true. My hope is that like he may be blurred, but you're still in the water. Ripples, bro. Ripples.
I know. That's why you're getting a roll, my good man.
And you notice when you look at him, even though the front of him looks like a crocodile, Chino has his tail up, giving himself a fin.
How many successes did you get?
I got 3.
Okay, that knocks off 3 of my ambush, but that's still a good dice of 10.
Oh jeez.
Jesus.
Pounce! All the good pouncing. All the good pouncing.
Oh!
Oh no.
Lucas,
Before you roll,
no. Here's the thing. I believe that there is an Australian man with a tranquilizer dart rifle currently somewhere, probably in a South American island, going, "Clever girl," as you are about to be sideswiped by a ragabash.
I'm just gonna fucking take it. She gets fucking toppled into the water. She is finally wet properly, as opposed to just her feet.
Okay, and at this point, Talia and Chino spring at once on as well.
Puppy
Puppy
pile.
pile!
Flail! Why?
Chino gets 2 successes and lands on top.
Crushing the both of them, I'm going to assume.
Yeah, Talia
They
is on
look
the
pretty damn big.
Chino belly flops on top of them.
Yep, Talia's joining in too. And she will have probably grabbed hold of the nearest ear she can and is just pulling on it relatively firmly, but she's there.
No.
Chino will grab Maeve's tail and be yanking the other way. So there's damage going on.
Flail!
Lucas is going to go ahead and nip at the muzzle of Chino.
Let's
What can
Chino
I...
let go and kind of wade over to the shallows and then sit up like he's in like he was when he was being very serious. However, it's obvious that he's not being very serious by the tongue hanging out of his mouth and the tail sticking up.
It's also hard to look serious when you're dripping wet with
Yes.
fur.
He gets all fucking regal, and then it's like, spurt, gets hit with the super soaker.
And he'll blink and kind of take the water out of his face.
Lucas
Hey, the
is
water
gonna go
spirit's
ahead
having a blasty blast.
and,
So we learn how to fight like a pack. It's good.
Lucas trots on over to the shallows, goes ahead and vibrates. No, not vibrates. Goes ahead and shakes his shoulders a little bit, then a little bit more, and then his whole entire tusk is like
Scampers.
shaking and things shattering, spilling all the water everywhere. Shake, 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 shake.
Talia's gonna climb off of Maeve, tap her tail, and then walk sort of pad over to the others and just give herself a little shake, not quite as aggressively as Lucas and the others, but she's also probably not quite as heavily furred as they are.
Lucas is gonna try to find his rock again, and then go ahead and lay on that.
So Maeve will take a moment to dismiss the water spirit to do whatever it likes, and for all she knows, that'll be still hitting them with water periodically. But hey, so she'll mutter to it and bob her muzzle in thanks, and then while she's still in the shallows, she'll give herself a firm shaking off before she trots out.
We'll notice the rest of them leaving the water, and we'll walk over and again, making sure to be strategically positioned between Talia and Maeve, will then shake his huge winter coat.
Yeah, he goes trotting between them while he's still soggy, and Maeve is going to be like, nope, 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 Scamper. Sees this coming a mile away. No, no.
And then he'll kind of go over and sit down.
Talia will have turned to just nip at him, but like friendly, not like aggressively.
Puppy class, best class.
Yes. So once they're all shaked off and look ridiculous with their fur spiked all out by the water, Maeve will jerk her head back towards the lake. So there's an example. If nothing else, you can use the Umbralscape to your advantage, and as long as you're asking the spirit to do something that's in its nature, it's usually very, very easy to make a deal. She afterwards gets, like, splurted in the back. Yep, super easy.
So you're
She's now
saying
slightly soggy again.
it's best to ask the spirits to do things that they would either like or want to do naturally? She kind of screws her nose up a bit at naturally, but yeah. We'll go with
She
that.
nods a bit, and we'll point her nose up to wherever the dove fled to. You have to keep in mind that the spirits aren't exactly what they are. The doves, for example, I mean, yes, they're doves, they're birds, but they represent something. And so the spirit of a dove is everything that you think of when you think of a dove. So the fact that doves are used as a symbol of peace has affected the spirits to the point where they are now, in a way, peaceful spirits, which is why they are able to assist me with healing, and why they ask in return that I turn not first to violence.
So, like, just to use a quick fancy words, I
Mhm.
suppose, they're like physical and I guess metaphorical? Would that be the right word?
She'll
Represent?
nod. The thing also...
Metahudical?
It means that they're not just exactly what they look like. They're the idea. They're
Oh.
everything that you would think a dove would be. But it also means that at the same time, if I went to that spirit and I wanted something to help me fight better, the spirit would probably outright refuse, and they are kind of stuck in their definition. I don't know if it even could make me better at fighting. I don't know if it is capable of that. So you have to keep in mind what the cliches are around that kind of spirit, because it usually shapes how they act and what they are capable of and not capable of. Going to the rabbit spirit when everyone went on their mission, it meant that the rabbit was able to grant them something that would help them dodge attacks. So it's a very rabbit sort of thing. They're very fast, they're very quick, they're very hard to catch. So if I wanted, and she'll just turn to what she has in her head, if I wanted something to make someone sleep, I would go to Chimera, because Chimera is a spirit kind of mysteries and dreams, and I would appeal to Chimera for something that would allow me to put someone to sleep. I would probably have to ask for a Talon rather than an ability, I imagine. And the difference between Talons and fetishes or gifts A gift is an ability that once you are taught, you can continue to use. It is a gifted ability. A talon is when you are asking a spirit to do a service for you and you bind it into an item. And once it has performed the service, the spirit is free to return to whatever it was doing before. And in the case of fetishes, things like the horns that the kinfolk have, the spirits that have gone into those items, you have to pay them more dearly because they're giving up their freedom for a much, much longer span of time. I don't know if it's permanent. I don't know if it's 100 years, but they are giving themselves up to grant you something permanent, something big, something meaningful. So you have to be aware that, like, and she'll kind of glance to Talia. Have you seen Travis's glaive?
Yeah, he did show it to me briefly.
He showed it to me too. That's an example, is that you can be granted great, great things by the spirits, but especially something like that, something that lasts, you have to appreciate and revere the spirit that has allowed itself to be bound permanently into that thing.
Chino kind of cocks his head to the side. The things you put the spirit in, they work in the wolf home?
She tilts her head a bit. I think I've heard of binding spirits to and she'll kind of nose towards Chino, to things like tattoos even. And I think that the spirit would still be there, but I don't know. I think it depends on what it is and what it does. Because if we're there and the spirit requires that in order to do its duty, you need to offer it gnosis, I don't know if you'll be able to do that in Wolf Home. But if it is something that is a passive effect, something that is constant, you may still have it.
So maybe we need to look and see what we might be able to take, no?
She nods. I've been trying to think of things. I need to make, or get from Travis at least, a couple. You remember the cookies and the drinks, right?
See?
He's offered to give us some of those, and while we may not be able to take them into Wolf Home, we will have to travel through the Umbra to get there. And perhaps if you eat and drink before we step in, the effect will stay with you while we are there. So I'm trying to think of everything I can to prepare us. I haven't made either of those myself yet. And at a game, I'm waiting for an ST because I can't just produce them in the background until I've done them the first time. But I mean to make as many things to prepare us and give us every advantage we can. If you can think of specific things that you think would be beneficial, and I mean, be creative, because the spirits can do all manner of things. It's just making sure that you go to the right one in the right way to get the right effect.
Also, as you say, in this scenario, they might have to be more creative and rather specific because they're required to be passive, because we will not have the thought or the ability to activate them.
She nods. I would, if I could think, maybe the same earth spirits that we get the cookies from. I might be able to go to one of them and instead of asking them to be bound into a cookie, ask it if it will be bound into Chino's tattoos for, I don't know, this many days. And once, or until, either for a week or until it is asked to give him strength. And then we ask it to give him that strength right before we step in. And so it lasts until we return, or something like that.
The other thing, just maybe I'm not understanding. I'm not as good with the spirits as you or these spirit realms. But from what little I have managed to gather, and from what Katori and Travis and people have said of Wolf Home, it's about being a wolf, and it's about, so we need to make sure we're not, giving us bonuses is all very well, and I'm not trying to detract from your ability to do that, but we need to make sure it doesn't detract from us being wolves and our connection to our wolves. and separate us in any way, because and ultimately that may end up weakening us if we need our wolves to be at their strongest. We need to not have anything bringing us back to our more human sides, I guess.
She nods. My hope is that whether it is boosting those who are the most exemplary to make them even better, like giving you and Chino better strength, or it's something like knowing that I am fairly weak and giving myself some strength so that I can keep up. I don't intend to have strange effects. I intend to do things that will feel natural, to expand our ability some, but not to change things
The
too dramatically
rocks
or
and the
visibly.
winds are natural. The rocks and the winds are certainly natural, but they are not wolves. They are wolf spirits.
There are.
As I say, I don't profess to understand it all. This is the more stranger aspect and the bit that is harder for me to understand. I'm just trying to offer from what little I could, but I leave those bits in your hands.
Not. The next time we go on a hunt, anyone who is willing to give up some of their extra portion, I will take it and I will dedicate it and offer it to the wolves to see if we can gain a blessing, perhaps to give us a little bit more of that instinct so that we can work more fluidly as a pack. Or something along those lines.
Nod.
Something that is a boost, but not a change.
If this is where you choose to focus your efforts, if you think it will help, then do so. I think my only request would be, maybe it is me playing, as you say, more to my strengths, but we are going to be wolves, and don't forget that, so don't forget the other parts of you that you are going to need to rely on.
She'll nod with one of those kind of gape-mouthed doggy grins. Oh, don't worry. I have been training. I have been hunting. I'm much better now than I was when I first came here. And especially...
So much better. You couldn't even sneak on that one England deer.
Okay, the Engling was hard. That thing was fast. And would not fall over. It would not fall over. We had to, ambush it 2-3 times. It was ridiculous.
We had to ambush it twice, and after the second time, I brought it down.
Yep. That's not a bad idea as well. If we hunt in the spirit world, it'll be more easy to take the yield from that and give it to the spirit wolves.
Let us
So
just say that we are all maintaining our ties to the wolves by hunting and living as them. And by the time that we are called to actually go into wolf hell, we'll be all well prepared.
Noddle.
See, this makes sense.
Are there any things that you have not understood about the spirits, or things that you have thought that you would want clarified? I could sit and just talk about the different spirits and their traits all day, but I don't want to be... Well, I don't want to just natter on incessantly.
Lucas goes ahead and says rather dramatically, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe try to explain the World Wide Web out there."
Shoves with a paw. Just like, meh. Not like a hearty shove, just you're a jerk shove.
I'll say this much: it's much easier to understand the natural and nature spirits of the Sept. But once she walks outside the bond, it's a much, much different and weird world.
Good point. So let's go over that. And she'll poke her nose, kind of like he did, towards the city, towards the nearest, good view of the city. The buildings covered in webs, swarming with crazy spiders, mechanical spiders, all sorts of just wiggy shit. The spirits out in the city are spirits of the Weaver. And so they are, like the Weaver herself, bound by a sense of order. So the best way to walk among them without causing trouble especially since we have someone like Emmett who has kept a very good relationship with the Weaver spirits, is to just keep in mind that when you walk through the city in the Umbra, do it in Hamid preferably, probably, something that seems normal and orderly. Make sure that you, even if there's nothing there, you pay attention to the stop signs, you pay attention to the walk lights, be orderly, be lawful, and they are far less likely to take interest in you.
Like we did with Aaron.
Not.
But, so, just to clarify, they're all just spirits. They're not... Are they actually the internet?
No, they're not the internet. They are Weaver spirits. Lucas is just a jerk.
It's worldwide. It's world expanding. It does manifest as webs in the penumbra. I guarantee you that the internet is just full of those spiders that just, go ahead and...
Oh, if she bites your face, I'm gonna die.
You just caused so. I have been reminded that I should actually do this more often.
Quick talk, trick talk, wits expression. They're trying to confuse you.
So you can't get mad? Is that the
Pretty much.
Chino kind of
1,
sees
2, 3, 4.
he's a rage monster too, so he kind of sees the rage in Talia. Just kind of, you see, almost his demeanor and everything doesn't change at all. His eyes just go from.
I am gonna count fucking cunning with this roll as a wit specialty. So Talia, whatever you're doing, I think you just get confused.
You start to get mad, and he starts babbling, and it makes some sense, but not all the sense, and it's one of those things where someone says something that's so just brilliantly stupid that you have to pause and look at them and go, what?
She looks at you confused and decides, yeah, your words are magical and confusing, but there's just too many words. But it manages to distract her long enough that she's not... That rage has simmered down just a little bit, but she will just snap at you, shut up, Lucas, just this once. And just sort of gives you a little bit of a snap of her jaws, but just leaves it. And turns back to Maeve, and kind of turns her back a little bit on him.
Cool.
Well, oh, Lucas.
Thank God he's a good ragabash sometimes.
Kind of notices the confusion at the words from Lucas holding back Thalia's rage, and he kind of cocks his head in a very kind of gesture.
She sort of looks at him and goes, sometimes it's just not worth it.
Lucas, having done his trick, shuts up.
If a wolf could shrug, Gino would be shrugging.
So something to keep in mind is that, like, you have all of you, and she mostly is looking to Talia and Gino, have you heard about the Triad?
Sure, yeah.
And you understand what the 3 parts represent, right?
Okay, well, I know the basic.
Okay, so the part that's important, at least for this, is that the Weaver represents order, for the most part. The Wild represents chaos, for the most part. And the Worm, well, at this point, the Worm is just... The Worm is a corruption. But, so when you encounter spirits that are based on those, when you encounter Weaver spirits, they will want a sense of order. It will probably placate them if you do things in a logical fashion that they can follow and that makes sense to whatever. So in this case, it's a city. Following the rules of walking through a city is a good way to keep them happy. When you are encountering spirits from the wild, they will be more chaotic. They will be more, potentially even more aggressive. So keep in mind that if you are in a wild place, a place that, and it really does, it feels very, very alive, but very, very wild. And those spirits are more likely to react in unpredictable ways or do things just for the sake of doing them. So it's good to understand their motivation. And obviously, worm spirits are just bad juju.
That that makes sense. It ties with everything I've been told so far and more of the more teachy lectury lessons we've had.
I try not to be super boring. I want to answer your questions, but I don't want to just monologue for an hour or 3. Thinking. Is there... She'll glance at Lucas. Can you think of anything else that is pertinent?
The enemy.
We know what the enemy is.
What is their spiritual nature?
I have not encountered worm spirits personally, not besides the things outside of the fish farm. And they
But
are
yeah,
exactly as you would imagine.
Yeah, I was gonna say those were some weird, terrifying monster nightmare things.
Yes. Spirits of the worm are going to be hostile. They're going to try to hurt you. They're going to try to twist you. They're going to try to do bad things. I mean, that's just...
At least in the Umbra,
If there's...
they look horrible. They look obvious. They don't wear human
do.
faces.
It's... From what I understand, for the sake of example, I was told that many of the Fianna do not respond well to Metis because there is a physical abnormality, and back when the worm taint was still a new thing, when Fomori was still a new thing, and even now it seems, people who are touched by the worm, things that are touched by the worm, spirits, animals that are touched by the worm, they almost always exhibit some sort of visible deformity or there's usually something visibly wrong with them. It's usually very easy to tell because it makes you uneasy. And that is why initially it was very hard for the Fianna to accept Metis because they had learned that deformities were a sign of worm taint.
But they're not?
She tilts her head. What, with the Metis?
Yeah, I mean, some people, I didn't know any better, but some people is like to me, well, does no one have a problem with Nicholas? And I was like, why should we have a problem with Nicholas? He seems to want to do good things. Is that not, he wants to help the Sept? Is that enough?
From what I understand, you have to realize that especially the Garu who have been alive longer, especially once you're a member of a tribe, the tribes have very long memories because while to us, whatever happened between this tribe and that tribe happened centuries ago, the spirits of the people who were there when these horrible things happened are still among us and still speak to us. And to them it is still fresh and it is still wrong and it is still terrible. So the memory of the people is very long. The other problem is that many Metis are being punished because their parents are the ones who broke the litany. They have done a wrong thing. They have essentially punished their own child by bringing it into the world in a way that means they have to suffer. They have to live with whatever deformity they have the misfortune of being born with, and they have to live with the shame of being the offspring of two Guru who couldn't stand or control. At least in the case of the Fianna, I understand the idea that, at least back then, those deformities were seen as a potential sign of worm taint, so they garnered suspicion. I do not know how the other tribes see them. I just know that I personally am not going to persecute Nicholas for the sins of his parents. Or Ren.
Greg. Of course not.
Surely, if someone is useful, they are useful. Everyone keeps telling me there's not enough Guru, there's not enough things to defend the Sept, there's not enough things to defend Gaia. if they can if they have strength and can prove themselves. If people are useful, why would we reject them?
It seems like the nation's worst weakness is its own temper and its own willingness to tear itself apart. I'm pretty sure if Guru could stop fighting Guru, we would have a huge advantage on the worm rather than being where we are. But we can't, because we can't forget past slights.
Well, I suppose that's one way to keep your history with you.
She nods. She'll glance over Chino. He's been fairly quiet.
He's just kind of sitting there. He's kind of taking it all in.
He's not looking agitated, however.
No, he's not agitated.
Okay, good.
He's just kind of listening. Talking about a lot of stuff that he knows a little bit about, but she's filling in some holes, obviously, for him.
Mm-hmm.
But he just kind of continues to listen. Doesn't really. He's at this point, he's not really offering anything. He's just kind of listening to the conversation.
Maeve has just learned to be a little cautious because she has learned about the Pure Tribes from a member of the Pure Tribes and wants to make sure she's not pushing buttons periodically. So if he gets a glance now and again, it's just to kind of assess his emotional state to make sure she's not tweaking him. Yeah.
And once he realizes that, whenever she kind of looks at him, he'll just kind of, like almost imperceptibly nod his head a little bit, like, it's okay. You're right.
Okay. So she'll nod. It's probably one of the things we will have to tackle the hardest. I know that Olaf feels strongly about how the tribes should work together and care for each other. I know that I feel strongly about it. I'm pretty sure Lucas feels strongly about it.
Meh.
And but yes, we are all children of Gaia, as it were, so we should take care of each other, regardless of past wrongs. They're in the past. It's good not to forget them, especially when there's the chance that you may encounter spirits who remember these things as if they were yesterday. So you need to be respectful in remembering the things that have happened, but holding them too close to your heart just brings bitterness, and a pack that can't work together, well, it gets picked off.
Remember, but move forward. Forward is the direction we need to go, not backwards.
Forgive, but don't forget.
Yes.
You don't always need to forgive, you just need to move beyond.
Even that.
I'll accept that one.
Sometimes you will meet peoples from the pure that cannot move on. And you got to be able to know when you meet them, because Snow White and Lucas, they not like you just because you're not them, and there'll be nothing you can do about it. So don't even try. But be aware and be respectful, and they respect you.
Noddle.
I can live with that one.
However, if you got to change their mind, and he definitely looks straight at Lucas, try to be funny to lighten the mood, you ask him to get a claw, at the very least, especially if it's full moon. If it's full moon, well, from what I hear, before we come here, somebody already tasted that meat and not find it to their liking.
Blink.
Lucas will go ahead and get very, very quiet.
Blink, blink. Glancing back and forth between them.
after just kind of sitting on Lucas with his eyes for a minute, will then turn his gaze back to Maeve. There's gonna be a hunt after the punishment, right? Yes?
Yeah?
You know why?
I don't know if I know that story. I've heard the stories of Andre. I've heard the stories of Alan. But I don't know that I've specifically heard the stories of this one person.
He pure. Wormbringer decided that he wanted to be funny, and he poked at the pure. The pure ripped his chart out of his chest. His eyes are deadpan, staring at Maeve. If anybody wants to P&E him, you can, but he is.
Oh, absolutely.
I always want to be me. Always. In fact, I especially want it since I have a +2 or a -2 difficulty to my perception.
Are you saying that I'm rolling at a difficulty of 2? Okay.
Talia doesn't normally try these things, but she is going to on this occasion because he's clearly getting at something. Even she can get that. Or think there's something there. No.
So, difficulty 4. It's difficulty 4, so you still have 2 successes. We get a -2 difficulty while we're in lupus. That's why Olaf's always in lupus when he asks us questions.
He is the judging wolf.
Yeah. He is, he's heard the story of Ben and the Get, and he is firmly in Ben's side. So, arguably, when making this point, he's going to be harder on the Ragabash side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, JC.
What?
I believe we have a fantastic moment here. You know, OOC, that they were actually 2 Philodoxes, not a full moon and a new moon, right?
Right. But Chino's making a point because it's
because it's a Puro tribe and a wormbringer.
Right. Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I had all my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
At least in my head.
Yeah. But
There
Chino
are
is
many
kind
things
of
that are
also
going in my head, including a Ferris wheel. Don't ask why.
Chino is also kind of making a point where he's basically trying to get Lucas to understand and hopefully pass on to Albert and the others that sometimes it's better for the Ragabash to keep his mouth shut
Mm-hmm.
and to know who he's talking to and his audience.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's kind of.
And in the case of this stare, Maeve will hold it long enough to make the point that she sees what he's doing and she understands that he is making a stare and making a stance, and then she will look away.
Okay. So does she meet Chino's gaze when he's doing this?
She'll meet it briefly, long enough to.
Damn it, Katie.
Basically, just long enough to make it clear that she understands what's being initiated, and then look away from it. So it's enough that they meet eyes, and it's just long enough that it's okay. We're meeting eyes, and I'm looking away because I'm not stupid.
Yeah, and as you meet his eyes, you see his hackles go up.
Nope, she
Tail
just
goes down.
promptly.
Ears go down.
Nope, she promptly looks away. She's got her hackles slicked down. She's got her tail just laying on the dirt behind her. Basically, she's not meeting conflict with conflict. She's not escalating it.
You can tell, well, the ones that are looking at Chino, which at this point I think is just Talia.
Well, you said you made a point of staring her in the face, so.
Yeah, he did. He did. And You can kind of see the rage definitely at the surface in Chino, and then he kind of you can almost see him kind of swallow it, much like a box of Lucky Charms, and then he'll turn back to Lucas, and then he'll kind of he kind of just kind of skips over Talia almost.
He will have had the briefest of nods from Talia as he passed by, but that will be it.
And then he'll come back to Lucas, and he'll just kind of settle on him.
You can definitely settle on him. You can definitely stare him down. You can look him in the face. You can look at where his fangs may be. And you can go ahead and assess that that is the weapon that the wolf uses. And you can safely see that he is keeping it sheathed. He does not want to escalate this.
And he will... He doesn't botch, thank goodness. Talia will actually see the lip start to curl a little bit as he is on the edge.
She's going to tense slightly, but she's got some respect for him, so she's not going to interfere at this point.
And then...
The only thing she will say is, I understand that the Ragabashers and people have been particularly fallen afoul of this trait recently, but I think in their defense, whilst I have also been rather disparaging of them, unfortunately, one of our brothers has proved abashed to fall afoul of your words and ideas and not thinking through and speaking and looking for things that perhaps you shouldn't look for.
Right. After a moment, listening to Talia, oh, there we go. Thank God. See him kind of shake, almost like he's shaking the water off of his fur again. See the hackles kind of go down a little bit. They're still horizontal, but they're not up. Tip of the tail starts to up a little bit. He gets control of himself again.
Yep, Maeve is, has her head turned in such a way that she can see him without essentially looking at him. So she's kind of keeping track and will relax somewhat once he finally relaxes as well, at least a bit.
Yeah, the tension will go out of Talia's muscles a bit and her ears have perked back up a bit. And she'll just sort of bob her head at him slightly, but mostly she just, looks more relaxed.
Chino will come up onto his feet. He'll kind of walk over towards Maeve. He's definitely still a little stiff, but he'll just kind of, in a very almost apologetic gesture, kind of rub his flank on her, and then go over and kind of nuzzle at Lucas.
You nuzzle him, he'll nuzzle back.
Yep.
Sign of equal respect and status, as I believe the two nuzzles are going to go ahead and pat over each other. I believe that's how you show it.
Yeah.
Remember Duncan showing me how this works.
And Chino will kind of sit. You could almost see if he was in Hamid, you would almost see a sigh.
Well, I'm going to call that a pretty complete class on everything, including working together as a pack and making sure that we know how the hell to behave. So, yeah. Probably about time to head back.
Chino kind of looks a little distant at this point. But he nods.
Talia's like, good lesson. I think that, but I agree, I think we should probably go back before we are missed too long.
Mm-hmm.
We can go ahead and try to get the rest of the venison out and barbecue it while people won't ask too many questions about smoke.
Yep.
Chino, who's kind of staring out across the lake, just says, "Make sure you leave enough. My family come in 4 days."
Good.
Absolutely, Chino. Absolutely. Can't wait to see them all again.
He kind of turns his head and looks at Lucas. "I find you a nice girl."
I'll certainly be up to talking to your nice girl.
Lupita, she take good care of you. He laughs at all your jokes. She good for that.
I'm sure she had plenty of practice with you. The joke part.
Kind of contemplate for a second, wondering if you're kidding. Decides you are. And then just kind of turns sideways.
Lucas is going to go ahead and hop on up. Start to trot in that direction. Anybody that doesn't come along, we'll keep a fresh pack for you. Venison sandwiches for everybody.
Trot, trot, trot.
Trot, trot, trot.
And Chino will kind of raise up, kind of lagging back with Talia. You just kind of give Talia just kind of that look between two Aruns. The wolf equivalent of a bro fist.
The look of respect will be returned.
And then he'll spring off, obviously trying to stay ahead of her, knowing that that's going to drive her fucking crazy.
Yep, the race is initiated.
They plow past the other two.
Challenge initiated.
Oh, screw that. If you think you're sprinting further than Lucas, he'll race you just like everybody else.
And we will continue the vein of ending every scene with the Cubs having a race.
I know.
We shall. So, as the three most competitive of the present Cubs leap into action, very aggressively trying to pull ahead of the pack in a hilariously literal fashion, Maeve will pick up the pace into a long lope just to kind of not lose sight, but she's certainly not going to be competing. And at the end of this lesson, we will say thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, creepers, for creeping. And we will see you next time on another episode of Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York, Puppy Edition.